The awareness is this presence right here that we are. We are aware. This is God's awareness. This is divine awareness. It's speaking to us. It's speaking to us through us. It is the light of the presence of divine mind being aware. The whole universe is awareness itself. We are that awareness. There's nothing outside of this awareness. There's nothing more important than the discovery of the child. You can study metaphysics, you can study non-duality, you can study the Bible, you can study Indian philosophies or religions, you can sit in meditation, you can do all these things. But if you don't find the child, it's that one missing piece. It is what completes the Holy Trinity, actually. It is the Holy Trinity when we find this extraordinary diamond. I'm hearing diamond, this gem of completion, the star, the light, the truth, the way. It is this holy child. We find that, and it's real, and it's within every one of us. We find that, and we find freedom. We find absolutely liberated, joyful freedom from, as Krishnamurti would say, freedom from the known. But it's so rich, and it's so much more than freedom from the known. It's a freedom from what we were conditioned to believe. And the child isn't conditioned. The child was never conditioned. The child was never wounded. The child is that joyful freedom that is everywhere at once, like the photon. The child is alive, ever present and alive. My heart just wants to sing of nothing but this gift, this treasure of our true self, our real self, and we get to live it here in this world. This world is not easy. It's filled with challenges. But once you find the child and you start to give it space to grow and trust it and start to find how you find the reality of it, and it has a way of connecting the source, the infinite mind, to the presence of this world. And you see them both, they come together. It's almost like, I've often thought of what happened for me was, you know how when you're trying to use binoculars and you have the two lenses and you keep trying to focus the two lenses and you little increments of that little spinning wheel in the middle, and then suddenly something at a distance, something you didn't know what it was, it starts to get clear. That's, to me, is like the third thing that brings the two lenses, the two ways of seeing into a third eye, I guess, and a third eye in the ancient Indian description, yes, an eye that's kind of combined of left and right, and then it's in the middle. The third eye is a combination of those two. It's also a third eye, meaning identity, me. There's sort of like a third me, which is the photon of me, the me sense, the the truth of me, the self of me that was before the world was, and that is beyond time and transcends time. And that's the third me. And when I first discovered this, I started writing with a capital M for me because I was so like, wow, my me is God. There isn't any other me that I can be. And the joy of that was so profoundly liberating and felt so honest, and I just knew it, and I leaped in trusting it, and I walk through my life now with that understanding that that holy child, that holy me, is the divine connection between the tangible and the intangible, the spirit and matter. And it understands what this material world is all about and how to use it towards, or how it is here for us to use towards our uncovering and discovering our truth, the true self we are. It's a gift. This world of tangible experience is what allows us to find the child, find our way back to the light of this true self, this real identity we are that is changeless and belongs to God. It's God's child, and that's the real me. And in a sense, there isn't anything that isn't the real you. There's nothing to get rid of. There's only to discover, uncover, because we don't lose those. There's something really beautiful about certain aspects of who we are, and each one of us unique and different. That's really a gift from God. You think of how they do those, the microscope that sees the grain of sand and magnifies it by 10,000 or however it works, and then you see each grain of sand unique, beautiful, like a gemstone. It glitters. It's different. One is this looking, and one's that way, and one's red, and one's green, and one. Oh my God! The sand magnified the beauty of each individual grain of sand. And they say every snowflake, every butterfly, everything that ever existed has its own unique quality of expression, of beauty, of what it appears, how it is, what it looks like. That's God's divine intelligence and God's artistry and God's infinite variety being expressed in this tangible world. The tangible beauty of this world is when you find the child, then you get to appreciate the tangible beauty of everything, of all that is, of the infinite awesomeness of each of us. And each of us gets to be who we are. When I first discovered the child and the joy of finding this familiar, beautiful part of myself that was, I had been trying to kind of like put away. We try to be something else. We try to fit into society. Let me put it that way. We try to conform. And then when you get to discover who you really are, it's uniquely beautiful. It sparkles and shines and is so special, and it's familiar to you. You will recognize your childlike joy, and it lives. It really lives, and it comes alive again, and it's so lovely to love who you are. It's beautiful to love who you are in all your funny, quirky ways, whatever that might be. Just a joy to be yourself. And it's like an open heart. It's like your heart is alive with love and beauty, and you get to express in whatever way God has made you to be. And the feeling of it is peaceful, happy, harmonious. You don't argue with yourself. You get to be who you are, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't suit the conditioning of this world. It's where liberation and freedom truly is, and it's alive and fresh and new and vital, and it's a spirit of infinite light, and that's who we are, and each of us individual. I'm saying this because I know that so many teachings make us feel like we're supposed to get rid of our ego. I don't know what that ego is. Nobody knows what that is. What part of me is my ego? What part of me is just me, being me, my true light of myself? And when you find the child, you'll know who you are. You won't have to try to figure it out. The part of you that was conditioned or living the untrue self of yourself, it just falls away. It's kind of like that. There's a story about the salt doll. Um, it walks into the ocean and the salt wears away, washes away. But it's better than that because you're not left empty. There isn't a nobody here. There's a more beautiful somebody here that is absolutely familiar to you. You will know who you are. When you find this holy child, you recognize it is you. You're alive, you're real, and you're genuine. And you know that. And you don't lose yourself. I think that is one of the beautiful discoveries. When we find this holy child, you become, and I think I've written it that way, more full of yourself. It's like, wow, what a joyful gift. Because when you live from that light, that higher dimension, that transcendent place, balanced right here between time and timelessness, between infinite unseen presence and this tangible world, when you live in that middle place, the expression of that light that you are, it's a valuable, powerful action to discover this child and live it in the world. It's an action that allows us to, yes, be true to ourselves, be true to who we are, knowing that who we are is a divine gift from God. And it has nothing to do with the arrogance of humanity that we see going on in the world all the time. This is an exceptional spirit, invisible power of the truth, and it's within you, and you know it, and it's yours, and you live it, and you find the joy, and you are it. It is you. I had a friend who started to grasp the idea of the child, and one day he called me and he said, it feels like I'm the only child, like I'm one child, and God and I are one. And I said, that's it. You are. There's only one child, and it's you and God's child. You are it. And it doesn't mean that doesn't it doesn't mean that that leaves out everybody else. It means that everybody gets to feel, know, and live this divine union with God itself. And there's one child expressing as every child, as all of us, and all of us are uniquely the child of God. There is that feeling of, I'm God's child. And then you look and you say, and everybody's God's child, but each of us gets to feel it personally. I guess maybe that's what I'm trying to say. It's a one-to-one personal. It's a one-to-one living this immediate presence of God's love right here, right where we are, always with us, always here, always being this light of who I am. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Like they, when we, even metaphorically, if we talk about like a family and the kids kind of go, oh, mom loves me better. Oh, mom loves me more. It's kind of a sweet reflection of, yes, exactly. It's that feeling because mom does love every one of her every one of her children is, she loves more. I mean, that's just, how do you say it? That's the truth. Every single one of us is loved more. And life loves us. No matter what it seems like, no matter what happens, no matter what challenges befall us, once we find this child, we understand that everything is working for good. And then we can look out at the world and the life death situation in the world, and knowing that there's constant change. And then we see all this fear being propagated and disseminated into the society, so much fear. And the child is not afraid. The child sees the light of truth. The child knows there is no death. The child knows that nothing real is harmed, and we know what is real. So there's a freedom there. And you aren't afraid to lose the tangible world because the tangible world comes and goes. We know that. We see that. The child gets it. It's a liberation from the tangible things. We realize tangible things are powerless. Yes, they come and go. Yes, there'll be a time when I leave this body behind and things happen. But when things happen, understand that they're happening for good, for a purpose, for a reason, for good. They are all the troubles in the world at this moment. They're designed by a higher intelligence, not by the political scene, not by ideologies, not by controlling people, not by all of that crazy chaos. But all that crazy chaos is serving a purpose. And that's what I guess is part of this, what we're calling an awakening, the illumination, the joy of finding the truth of the powerlessness of things and the powerlessness of governments and conditioning and fear and even all this stuff about, everybody's going to be dying from something. You go, oh my Lord, yeah, we all will one of these days. It's not unheard of that people die. So it's like that childlike joy. We're okay with understanding because we're coming from a higher vision of the truth that knows There is no life, truth, substance in matter. And we see that. And yet, here we are, living this beautiful self we are, this beautiful gift of the soul, the invisible, infinite, eternal identity we really are. And we're living that here in this world, in this tangible world, with a body and with all the goings on of this life. And we find a way to make a living, and we find our way through, and we buy our groceries and do what we do, and it's a joy. It's an absolute joy once you discover the carefree light, spaciousness, infinity, totality of your true self. That's the child, and that's what we're here to find. And we will find it, all of us. I love that old-fashioned term. Old-fashioned, I don't know. It's something that everybody kind of always says. If I can do it, you can do it. that's the truth. It is the truth. I mean, honestly, uh, it doesn't take an intellect. It doesn't take knowing everything. It doesn't take reading every book or knowing the Upanishads or knowing history. Or it really is right within us, right here, who we are. And it was the child of us before we came into this world. It's the Holy Child that takes us out of this world, and it's with us all the time. And if things get confusing or too complex or overwhelming, or you get to start worrying about things, once you find the child, it doesn't leave you. You can always simply, easily call your attention back to it, and it comes to the rescue. It really does. All right, all you beautiful angel faces, thank you so much. I'll see if I can get back to you pretty soon. Okay? All right. Bye bye.